If you're looking for a new EV in 2025 and don't want to break the bank, Chevy's got an option that speaks directly to the bargain shoppers out there in the best way possible. The Equinox EV is spacious, it's got big screens, and packs over 300 miles of EPA estimated range on a single charge. And it does all of that at a price tag of around $35,000. Okay, this sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch? Well, let's crunch the currents with Recurrent, take a look at the data. Let me tell you what you need to know about the Chevy Equinox EV for 2025 and why maybe, just maybe, this might be the EV you've been looking for. So if you've been in this market for a little while, shopping for sort of a mid-size, all-electric SUV at under $50,000, there's probably a pretty good chance you stumbled across probably the benchmark that most places will point you to, which is the Tesla Model Y. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot to love about the Model Y. We've done a full in-depth video on the refresh model here on the Recurrent channel. We'll leave a link to that down below. But the sort of consensus really is that it's a great car for many, many people, but with a $45-ish thousand starting price tag, it's $10,000 more than the Equinox EV, and that's a lot of money, $10,000. And I think that for many out there, they'd be willing to have that money in their pockets and give up a couple of the creature comforts of the Model Y, and honestly, probably not miss that much with the Equinox EV. In fact, in some cases, you're actually gaining some stuff. Chevy, on the other hand, is very confident you're gonna love the Equinox EV. Their website very much touts this thing as having the biggest screen of sort of the competition and nearly the most range for the lowest amount of dollars possible. There's a very strong proposition here for its value, and in a lot of ways, the Equinox EV checks a lot of the boxes you're probably looking for. In fact, the value here is so good and the range is so good that this vehicle won Recurrent's award for the longest range value electric vehicle, though do be aware that if you're in a colder climate, it's not gonna be as good as the competition. But maybe with the right price, it would kind of be worth it. So let's take a look at what your pricing looks like on the Equinox EV. There are basically like 6 different options here you can choose from, and of course you've got different incentives and things and destination charges we'll take out to make things simple. The price is basically gonna range from $33,600 to $46,700 before you start adding in options, and of course there are incentives and things like that. All options are actually gonna get you an EPA estimated range over 300 miles, and you're honestly getting a pretty solid offering, again, for that starting price tag. In terms of design, Chevy's definitely taking the more traditional approach when it comes to the Equinox EV. It's not gonna stand out on the road in a good way or a bad way. It definitely is more understated and more traditional. It does have a nice looking light bar on the back of the vehicle. It's got these nice blue accents, but if you're looking for an EV that doesn't look like an EV, you're probably really gonna like what the Equinox EV looks like on the outside. The inside though, at least personally for me, was much more impressive. Now, the overall fit and finish is fine. Our option here had cloth seats for our test vehicle, and that was fine, and everything was fairly comfortable. You're definitely gonna have more manual controls on some of these trim levels than you might on others, and different things you're gonna sacrifice for that price. But I was really impressed with the technology. You're getting 2 very large displays that are very vibrant and bright and legible, and not just that, but the base software of the car is running off of some Google software here for automotive vehicles, and that means you're not only getting a very fast and fluid and pretty, robust offering there just built into the car itself, but even like a default map app of Waze or Google Maps. I was super impressed, both in terms of the hardware of the displays and the responsiveness, and also the software. Very, very well done, Chevy. Very well done from a tech nerd's perspective. But then there are some other things that, at least for our configuration here, feel a little basic. For example, our interior here is all cloth. Down to the carpets, it's all very basic. Not bad. Got a couple of USB-C ports there for your rear passengers, some fans there, but very, very basic. No powered seats. This is all manual. Also the same case for the driver's side as well. I've got to say that given the overall size of the vehicle, and really it's sort of very compact relatively speaking, form here, you're getting a pretty good sized trunk in the rear of the vehicle. Plus, you've got sort of a sub-trunk area down here that's going to give you more storage for different odds and ends, your charging cable if you want to bring it with you, and really just sort of a generic plastic bin down there. You can fill with groceries, snacks, other road trip goodies, and you've got a decent amount of space here in the rear of the vehicle. All right, let's talk driving experience. What is it like to drive the Chevy Equinox EV? There's been a lot of yin and yang with things in this car. Some parts, like I've mentioned, that certainly punch above its weight class. Other parts where you feel a little bit more like you're in a starter EV. But I've got to say, one of the areas that's exceptionally good is the driving experience here. You have all of the creature comforts you'd expect of an EV when it comes to one-pedal driving and automatic hold and things like that. And as you can see from the interior here, I really, really love this large dual display option here. For everything this car is missing and for the sacrifices you are making, having all of these displays you can utilize at your disposal are very, very nice. And I've got to say, as the driver here, very much appreciated. Suspension is pretty good, steering is pretty good, and while we do have cloth seats in this configuration here, I've got to say they're pretty comfortable. And for everyone wondering, the HVAC system, especially here in Southern California, the AC works exceptionally well. To that end, another thing I do like about this vehicle that I think a lot of people making the switch to an EV for the very first time will also appreciate are your suite of physical buttons. That you've got a physical toggle here to not only bring the HVAC system on and off and adjust your climate control, but you've got knobs for adjusting temperature. You've got a large knob here for adjusting volume. And I think that's really my big takeaway with the Chevy Equinox EV, is it's the fundamentals done very well. The driving experience, real world range, the power, while not impressive, definitely is not going to be anything to complain about. The amount of storage, if you're looking for I really think sort of a budget friendly EV, one that isn't going to break the bank. And I think especially if you're someone looking for more of the creature comforts of a traditional vehicle that you expect to have buttons where you think they would be and things like that, this is going to deliver on those things. Definitely not going to be the most premium, elevated experience out there, but in terms of just ride comfort, range, tech, things like that, there's actually a lot to like, especially for the starting price. If you've got some more money to throw around and you're looking for more luxurious attributes of the vehicle, you want something with a bit of a more flashy design, there are definitely plenty of other options you should consider. But bottom line here is that if you're not super concerned about that, you're looking for the best bang for your buck, the most value, the best well-rounded vehicle, you like the size, you like the technology, and you like the driving experience, I gotta say that I'm very impressed with the Equinox EV. And given all you get for the price, I think for a lot of people, this is the EV they're going to want, that doesn't break the bank and is an exceptional value, delivering great tech and great range and a pretty great overall experience, especially for under $40,000. So what are your thoughts on the Equinox EV? For those of you out there who own the vehicle, if you're looking to help out some potential owners, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you're looking for an EV, you have come to the right place, because we are having a bunch of different videos here on the channel over the next few weeks. Gonna make this a great resource of different 2025 EVs to consider, from the high end to the low end, from the Lucids to the Teslas, the Rivians, and everything in between. So subscribe if you have not already. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and this is Recurrent Auto.